second meeting in the past 8 days. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Chestnut Hill. So glad you could join us today. Dave Ryan alongside Bob Wenzel. Last time the matchup in Philadelphia, a 10-point win for Boston College, thanks in large part to Troy Bell's 28 points.
I love Troy Bell's calm confidence. This guy is the best guard in the Big East Conference, and he shows you here why. Can take the ball to the basket, shoots very well from the perimeter. The great thing about his three-point shot is his release. He gets it off so quickly that people have to foul him. Look at the bottom of your screen. His numbers last time against Villanova were very dramatic, and he is very, very consistent.
As usual, Michael Bradley leads things for Villanova. 8 times a double-double this year, including 4 straight games.
He's an automatic double-double.
Show up, put it in the box score. He is there. Michael Bradley shoots well from the perimeter, but he is most effective when he is around the basket. The guy even breaks through double teams with clever moves like this. He is a guy who is very, very effective when he gets the ball close to the basket, both as a passer and a shooter. For Villanova to have a chance today, he must have a big game.
Bob, here on the BC campus, enthusiasm is running high. That's because the team has 6 league wins already. They'll go for number 7 when we come back. Starting lineups, no starting lineup, of course, led by Troy Bell. He and Bradley 2 and 3 in the Big East in scoring right now per game.
Well, the best thing about Boston College is the fact that they are a very well-balanced team in terms of ball handling, and Kenny Harley does a tremendous job for them in that particular category. Boston College is a small team, Dave, but they do not turn the ball over.
Head-to-head, the series history between these two. We talked about the prior game. 90-80 was the final last Saturday at Villanova, PA. It is all Villanova. In fact, they won 11 of 14, but a big victory that Al Skinner says his team doesn't necessarily need to score 80 points. It's all about defending Bradley. That's the big key today.
Well, that is the big key for Boston College, and Al Skinner has a quiet confidence about him. Top 25 teams in the Big East Conference. Boston College, of course, at 15 and 2. They have some namesayers. The only losses are to Duke and a 2-point loss to St. John's at Madison Square Garden. So I guess that because they haven't been in everybody's minds the last couple of years, a little bit hard to get respect. But number 20 is not bad for the Eagles.
Luka Agbai, 0-0 for BC, and Bradley will tip it up at center. We're underway. Michael Bradley from Worcester, Mass. About an hour or so west of the BC campus. He's got 150 family, friends, former teachers.
His babysitter.
That's right. They're all here to cheer him on, and here he is. First time he's got the touch in the paint, and he's got that good, sweet shooter's touch the first 2 of the game.
Well, they cannot guard him individually man-to-man. The thing about the Wildcats is even when he gets big numbers like he did against Providence, they still lost by 20 points. They need other people to step up besides Bradley.
26 and 13 a week ago at Villanova. Singletary for Kenny Walls. 15-footer, perfect.
Ball handling and passing, the calling card of Boston College.
Double figures 6 times this year for Walls. What a bonus it is for Al Skinner if he's scoring for him. Aaron Matthews in the baseline. Bradley streaks in and scores.
Nice ball handling right there by Villanova. A 3-quarter court trap by Al Skinner. They had 12 steals the last time these two teams played, and Steve Lapis was lamenting that. They lead to easy baskets usually.
Harley, 13 wide, a career-high 25 the last time these teams met. He was very dangerous, along with Ryan Sidney off the bench, the freshman from Ann Arbor. Here's Agbai, turnaround.
We're going to see a lot of points. Last time, as you mentioned, it was 90-80. Both of these teams can score in bunches.
BC way above their per-game average from a year ago. Here's Jermaine Medley. Had 5 threes the last time these teams met, including 4 in a row to begin the second half. Bell, down low for Walls. Lefty layup. A little bit too strong. Troy Bell rebound. +1.
Medley not where he was supposed to be. Normally, little guys do not do a lot of offensive rebounding, but Troy Bell does it everywhere. Steve Lapis a little unhappy on this particular play. Medley falls asleep, and Troy Bell catches it way below the rim. An easy one.
Speaking of easy, anytime Troy Bell gets to the free throw line, that's pretty much been the case. 85% from the line. Eric Buchanan is the free throw king in this game. Over 96%. And the 61 free throw streak in effect. But Troy Bell so relaxed and smooth on that delivery.
He really is. You got two of the best free throw shooters here. Buchanan is at 99%. It's 98.5, but I think we should round it off for him.
Man, is that something. Buchanan, of course, leads the league. Bell is fourth right now in free throw shooting in the Big East Conference.
Buchanan leads the country as well.
Here's Bradley going for his sixth. Then he's fouled. Agbaye got a piece of him on the way by. And Bradley to the free throw line, where he has had a huge struggle as opposed to Buchanan and Bell from the line.
It's an amazing kind of thing with Bradley. I mean, he should be a much better free throw shooter, only shooting 57% from there. But he's getting touches close to the basket. If I were Boston College, I would continue to foul him. Look at those numbers. 22 and 9.6.
Wow. But the number you don't see there, and that is a good example of it, 57.6 from the free throw line.
Not very good. Of course, when he gets it this close to the basket, if I were in the huddle for Boston College before the game, I would say foul him when he gets it that close to the basket. The percentages are with you in that kind of a situation.
Give him 5 points. All 5 of Villanova's points so far. BC by 2. Well, Matthew Harley, so tough in that first game as we talked about.
Yeah, Matthews on Harley is a difficult matchup for Matthews. He's used to guarding somebody close to the basket.
2 field goals early for Agbaye.
See Walls at the front of this trap. He has long arms, so it's difficult to throw over him. Makes it difficult to bring the ball up the court. Got to make about 5 or 6 passes.
Bradley, leader hand. So the numbers better now for Villanova. We saw on their field goal attempts. Give him 7, all 7 of their points so far.
Well, with Bradley, if Boston College does not double team him, he's liable to have 50. Right here, they look for him, and Agbaye's playing behind him. There's just no way Agbaye at 6'6" can guard Bradley 6'9" with his offensive skill. They either have to front him or they have to come and double team on the catch.
Well, the foul there was on Aaron Matthews, his first.
You think Bradley wants to score a lot of points in front of those 150?
You talked about the big crowd he's got here, right?
BC undefeated in the Conti Forum. Boy, it's nice to play at home when you're comfortable. They have an air of confidence about them.
Agbaye against Bradley. This time Michael's got the strong defensive rebound.
Agbaye trying to show that he can do something at that offensive end. Bradley maintained his poise nicely.
Johnny Holly. Leg brace on the right knee. Bradley misfires, but Buchanan, weak side rebound, sticks it back in.
You know, the funny thing about Boston College is we take a look at a 6'3" guy getting an offensive rebound. They are not very big. And because they're not very big, they must rebound by committee. Everybody must get involved.
First 2 not scored by Bradley. Singletary trying a little backdoor cut through traffic. And Matthews springs out the other way. Bradley a tip on the left.
You know, Al Skinner had to be concerned about Bradley coming in. He talked about that a little bit. But Al Skinner's personality permeates his team. He was a very aggressive player, but very calm under pressure. And that's how his team is. They never get rattled. They very rarely turn the ball over.
One of the calmest players on the court is the floor leader, Troy Bell. That's what Al Skinner talked to us about as well before this game. Maybe you'd like to see a little more fire and emotion from Bell sometimes, but he's a lot like the coach's personality.
He really is. And, you know, the guy was not highly recruited. And it's great to see a guy have so much success who's not one of the highly publicized guys we see these days.
That was an ugly shot from Matthews in the corner off the side of the backboard. And he, in frustration, reaches in the way up court for BC. Give him 2 fouls. So far, Michael Bradley, with his huge fan support club here, has 9 of his team's 11. We're all tied up at Chestnut. Hear about this year at Boston College. Pretty eccentric looking mask there. Is Michael Bradley all right? That's the question. We'll try to get a report as soon as possible. That is bad news for Nova. He's got 9 of the 11. Bell right off the timeout, drives and scores again.
Same exact play they had last time. They are clearing a side for Troy Bell. They do not feel that Medley can guard him one-on-one. Medley's going to need some help.
Ricky Wright, Andreas Block into the game. First time for Nova.
Change of defense after the timeout. Holly is not a shooter. They can leave him alone a bit and try to double team up on Medley and Buchanan.
Another steal. Troy Bell. Backhand it back, little hanging layup, got it.
Spurt time for the Eagles. They've changed their pressure. Now it's 2-2-1. After the timeout, subtle change by Al Skinner. Smart.
Leader on the team in steals. Almost 2.5 a game. Returns the favor, though, as Medley went up high to pick it clean from Kenny Walls. Now it's right the other way. Hits the floater.
Villanova must avoid those kind of steals that lead to easy baskets. The last time these two teams played, 12 steals leading to 20 points.
Kenny Harley lights it up from 3.
Harley wide open in transition. Nobody in a blue shirt nearby.
Without Bradley, Nova down by 5. We'll find out the problem. It looks better just watching him now from this angle. Medley a 3. Back iron. Wall strong rebound. We see some numbers. Bell too strong on the 3, but Harley's got the offensive rebound. They'll reset.
Harley is the leading rebounder at 6.5 for the Eagles. He's only about a 6'5" player, so you can tell they are not a team that uses rebounding as an asset. Their thing is outside shooting, and everybody can handle the ball. Last 3 games, single-digit turnovers for the Eagles.
Good news for Nova, Bob, as Bradley's back at the scorer's table. He'll come in at the next dead ball.
Well, they need him badly, but they can't rely solely on his scoring. Medley 0 for so far.
Harley tries a 3. That's off the mark. Too far for block on the rebound. Wall's a strong blow. Right, took it right from him. Missed the layup, but tries again and scores with the right hand this time.
Well, Villanova is a very good offensive team. Ricky Wright and Matthews combined get about 14 points and 7 rebounds a game for Steve Lapis. Their big concern is not turning the ball over, as we mentioned, in the open floor. Change of defense, zone.
Left-handed 3 for Wall.
You know, Dave, you get caught between a rock and a hard place against Boston College because it's tough to guard the man-to-man because everybody handles, but it's tough to guard them straight zone because everybody shoots threes.
There's 4 points, an assist, and 4 rebounds last week for Walls in 16 minutes of action. Already 5 points for him, and Wright really providing a boost off the bench.
Exactly. Wright tough inside. Little uncharacteristic turnover right there by the BC Eagles.
Bradley is back in. Tough to tell what it was. Didn't get a chance to get a medical report. He was up and back in the lineup pretty quickly. Eric Snowden comes in for the first time, and Ryan Sidney in as well. A spectacular freshman from Big Ten country. How about Troy Bell from just outside the Minnesota campus, and Ryan Sidney from right there in Ann Arbor, nearly around the Big East.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So far, a good story for Villanova on the turnovers. Not turning the ball over a lot, but here is one.
Right off the bench. How about that for Sidney?
He brings energy. About 6'2", but he plays like a power forward. Doesn't shoot the ball well from the perimeter, but fast hands on the D and rebounds for his size.
Almost half of the points for BC in transition. Stone, the freshman, from Baltimore off the bench. Has started 5 games, including Wednesday, a loss by 20 at Providence. Listen, Bradley had a big game, but got no help. Ricky Wright looking good early. Bell takes care of another steal and lost it. He says it was off Snowden. And the officials do not agree, and we have got a timeout. 11:25 in the first half from BC. Troy Bell looking good early. He has got 9, and BC leads by 6.
This cannot happen frequently. These kinds of steals usually lead to good baskets, but Snowden does a good job and forces Troy Bell to turn it over. But Villanova cannot afford the 12 steals that happened the last time these two teams played.
What a presence for both Ricky Wright and Ryan Sidney. We saw in the replay, Sidney caused that turnover that Villanova uncorked a moment ago. Bell lost on the other end. Had a steal just before that and a lay-in. Talk about incredible presence off the bench, huh? Block in trouble, calls a timeout.
So far, Dave, Boston College 10 for 14, shooting 71% from the field. That is not good defense by the Wildcats. You take a look at the turnover story right here, which we will be following the entire time. So far, not bad for Villanova.
Another timeout here at the Connie Forum on the BC campus. Boston College looking good early against Villanova. The inbound on the baseline. Villanova down by 6. 20th ranked Boston College. Back in the AP, ESPN USA Today. Top 25 one more time. Excellence has returned here to New England, and the fans have really responded to what Al Skinner has done here. 2-4 lifetime against Villanova. Wow, what a great start to the year. 11-0 to begin with his longest ever win streak as a head coach.
Absolutely, 12-0 at home. Did a great job at Rhode Island when he was in the Atlantic 10. Inherited a program here that was down a bit. Of course, Michael Bradley from this area was going to come to Boston College, but in the controversy, decided to go to Kentucky and since transferred back to Villanova to be in the Big East Conference.
After the good defensive play, filling that passing lane by Agbai, 8 of the shot clock now for Nova. Bradley says, hey, no hard feelings. That was a lifetime ago. This is my second school since the decision not to come here and play. Won a national championship a couple years ago for Tubby Smith.
Shot clock,
and Kentucky. Shot clock expires. Snow didn't realize it. 5 turnovers overall, 4 in the last 5 trips down for Steve Lapis. And he told us just before the game, Bob, how crucial that was going to be, taking care of the ball.
Well, he's toying around with his lineups. Derek Snowden gives him a lot of pressure in the backcourt, a lot of quickness, but a young player tends to turn the ball over in difficult situations, and this classifies as a difficult situation, playing a ranked team on their own floor.
Jonathan Beerbaum into the lineup for the first time for BC.
Villanova really has to improve defensively. Their defense off the ball especially.
It's a 3 right off the bench.
Confidence. Beerbaum tipped one in late when they were on the ropes at Miami. He's one of their more experienced players. Al using him off the bench.
73% from the floor for BC. Light it up from long range and in tight. Halfway through the first half. Spread is 9. Buchanan. Big triple. Well short.
Can you say air ball? One of the things about Buchanan is his percentages are down this year because last year Brian Lynch usually got the best defensive player against him. Now that Lynch has graduated, Buchanan gets the best perimeter defensive guy on him.
0 for 5 from three-point range. 12th in the Big East Conference of 14 teams coming in, shooting just 33%. Behind the arc. That one not even close. Agbai drives. Can't get it to go. But he will go to the free throw line to shoot a pair.
Well, the thing about Villanova's defense is that they've got to play one-on-one better, or they've got to come to help better, one of the two. Some of the guys have a little bit slower feet than the people they're guarding. And as a result, Steve counseling Snowden. He's happy with this guy's defense, but the offensive end, his judgment is not quite there yet.
5 for Agbai. Al Skinner told us before the game, Agbai can be a very crucial element to this team as long as he stays out of foul trouble. He's done that and provided some good offensive support as well.
Well, he does, and he's got a very unusual. We'll show you last time. He talks about standing about 4 feet behind the free throw line. He is fired up. It's always good to have some enthusiasm from Malloy High School in New York. He stands way back, Dave, from behind the free throw line. Very unusual kind of situation for him.
Agbai to the bench, and local hometown hero Brian Ross. First appearance for him, 45 in white. And look at Sidney, the freshman sensation from Ann Arbor. .90 run. And Steve Lapis has seen enough. 30-second timeout. The lead balloons to 13 for Al Skinner's Eagles.
And the steals by Sidney and Harley and Bell have contributed to that deal. And the one-on-one play right here, you don't want to throw a bounce pass to the top of the key. It's too slow. A chest pass is much, much better. And the BC Eagles are flying.
5 turnovers in the past 6 trips down the floor. In the midst of that huddle is Ryan Sidney. I had a chance to chat with him before the game. And he said in terms of making steals and big plays, Sidney actually will ask the coaching staff before the game, all right, I realize I'm only 6'2", but I'm about 210 pounds. How heavy are the players I'm playing against? Not how tall, how heavy, because I'm strong, and he's a confident guy. He feels he matches up well in terms of the weight and his strength.
Well, he's confident on the border of cockiness, and coming in here not being recruited, that's probably the way he needs to be. Physical guy. Look at that pass at the feet. Look at that pass to no one.
Stripped away, and Bell ahead of the pack.
This is the worst nightmare for the Villanova fans. And the team that steals the ball best in the league, Boston College, using their quickness. Villanova having difficulty finding another blue shirt right now.
Jermaine Medley straddling the midcourt stripe, almost traveled, almost had the over and back, and then almost had it stolen by Troy Bell all at once.
3 almost in a row. 11 turnovers now.
What has happened in the offense early in the game? Another steal that Beerbaum lost the handle on the sideline.
You know, this kind of
possession, so it stays at 12 on the shot clock.
Excuse me. This kind of thing gets a little contagious, Dave. You know, when you know that you turn the ball over a lot, you're playing against a good team like Boston College, guys get very, very tentative. And Villanova looks extremely tentative right there. Why is Medley throwing the ball into the corner when Wright is wide open at the top of the key? Judgment is involved here. Guys get a little tight, and it leads to what we've seen right now, a tremendous run.
Villanova, down 15 points, is actually shooting 50% from the floor.
Right, but they're not getting any shots because they're giving the ball back all the time. There's another one.
Another turnover. This time from Medley, trying to go around the high pick of Michael Bradley, and the fans can sense it. Smell the blood in the water. We're coming here from the County Forum, Chestnut Hill, Mass. On the BC campus, Dave Ryan, Bob Winslow, our entire Big East crew. Glad you could join us today. Great start for Villanova with Ricky Wright and Michael Bradley. Bradley had his team's first 7 points.
After he pulled a muscle and went to the bench and came back in, has been pretty invisible.
Missed from Harley, a rebound. Bradley stripped it into the hands of Buchanan. Here's Wright. In the paint. Hard foul on the way up. Sidney was there, so was Ross.
Well, if both of them foul him, does he get 4 free throws? New rule this year. Very aggressive play by Ryan Sidney right here. Nice dish, and Wright coming in here. Almost looked like he lost the ball to Sidney. But he will get his opportunity at the free throw line.
Ryan Sidney, the Big East Rookie of the Week, career high 17 points last weekend against Villanova. 7 points now for Wright.
But when Villanova gets to execute, as you mentioned, shooting 50% from the field, you can look at Wright's numbers.
1 and 2, and Beerbaum will clear it. Sidney on the move again. Causing the defense to react, and Ryan Sidney hits another tough shot on the baseline.
That was a tough shot. And he shoots better when he's close to the basket. He's more like a post player offensively in the half court than he is a perimeter guy. But he is a defensive weapon.
Not at all good three-point shooter. 18.8 behind the arc, although hit a few against Nova last weekend.
And sometimes guys who shoot 18%, but they forget they shoot 18%. The confidence is a big factor.
Timeout on the floor. Villanova could use it. They've got to regroup, all of a sudden down by a ton. 16 points, thanks in part to Troy Bell.
And he is lovable if you are a BC fan. Top 25 scorers around the nation today. Rutgers upset Seton Hall, and Seton Hall is spiraling. Not good chemistry. An easy one for Duke. And Maryland, Clemson, the last place team in that strong conference this year. And Michigan State doing it to Purdue.
Wow, that was a big lead for Tom Izzo's team. Matthews drives and scores. First 2 of the game for Aaron Matthews, the sophomore.
You mentioned Troy Bell, Dave. He's got 11 points so far, 5 of 6. And all of those makes were layups. Not being guarded well.
Ross from 3.
Oh, man. Everybody on this team shoots threes. Ross at 6'9", 245. A substitute.
The Eagles have made 4 triples from 4 different players. Walls, Harley, Ross, and Beerbaum. All have gone long.
And that is hard to guard when everybody can shoot. It's one thing when one guy shoots from there.
Ross tries another. Look at the foul, though, from Beerbaum. Aggressive. Senior from Nebraska.
These two teams at the opposite end of the spectrum at this point in the game in terms of confidence. BC playing all out, not worried about anything. And on the other hand, Villanova really struggling with handling the basketball. Confidence at a low ebb.
Bradley in the double figures, give him 11. How about Sidney? Another spin on the baseline.
Same play as he made before. Difficult shot. Back to the basket for a 6'2" guy.
Beerbaum aggressive play, keeps it alive. Bell, Beerbaum, the alley-oop. Oh, little too far beyond his reach. Not by much. That would have brought down the house. 10th turnover for Villanova. Continue to rack up that number, and Wright is crushed by Brian Ross.
A little aggression around the goal by Ross. Much better to send the man to the free throw line. Brian Ross is known as an outside shooter. Averaged about 38 a game, something like that in high school, from nearby North Quincy. Or North Quincy, as they would say.
If you're from here, you got to say Quincy Moss, right? Big problem for Villanova, Bob, against Providence College Wednesday in that 20-point loss. 27 turnovers. And I told you about the number on the way up now. 10 already in this game.
Well, that is the problem for them, and it's been their problem in the last 3 games. They only have 3 guards on the team. And Medley, not really a point guard, more of a 2 guard.
This game is produced by ESPN Regional Television. Couple free throws there for Ricky Wright. He's been a key factor off the bench for Villanova, keeping it relatively close.
Johnny Holly did a good job, as you see him in your screen. His best game against Virginia Tech when he defended their stellar guard, Brian Chase, who had 22 against Villanova at halftime, and did a great job defensively in the second half on him.
Little backdoor cut, and Beerbaum is free from Ross.
Nobody fearful for Boston College. Nobody afraid to make plays.
74% from the floor. Driving is Buchanan, trying to get it to Bradley. Some contact first. On the way to the goal before the shot.
And as a consequence, Villanova just gets it out of bounds rather than shooting free throws. Ross did a great job when he was in the game. If you're coaching this team and a sub comes in and makes threes and makes assists, you are a very happy coach.
Agbai comes back in for Brian Ross. He says he loves to do the little things, get in the way of a pass, take a charge, things you don't see in the stats the next day in the paper. Medley rattles out on the 3, but the rebound stuck back in by Holland.
Villanova normally in the last couple of years a good three-point shooting team. This year not so. Mainly Medley's having trouble from there.
Here's Agbai. Matched up with Bradley. Okay, good start to this game. Back on that time. Holly a strong rebound, but lost on the way down. However, it was hit.
Boston College has such fast hands, more so than any team I've seen this year. They slap the ball away when it's on a rebound. They slap it when a guy catches the ball near the basket. 2 fouls for Sidney as he takes a seat. He is very well liked here in Boston in his freshman year.
He told us before the game he loves this style. That BC players, a big reason he didn't want to go to Michigan State. He had an offer from Tom Izzo to play for the Spartans, national championship program right down the road. He's from Ann Arbor. Lansing just a couple hours away as Bradley is free for the easy stuff, but he wanted to run up and down like they do here.
Well, also, the interesting thing is he had 2 scholarship offers from Michigan State, as you mentioned, and BC. After that, he was a Division II recruit.
Xavier Singletary wide open, and Walls found him.
They all can pass. They all can shoot. A very, very fun team to watch are the Boston College Eagles. 8
different players, Bob, have now scored for BC. All the starters now that Singletary's in the books. Buchanan a drive. Matthews on the baseline, a kick out to nobody. And Medley cannot catch up with it over and back. Another turnover. The 11th of the game for Jermaine Medley and Villanova. They are down by 15. Under 4 to go in the first half. take a look at the Volkswagen Big East leaders, Bob.
Well, of course, two of the top three in this game. Michael Bradley doing his part. Troy Bell doing his part as well. Both scoring lots today. Troy, the other Troy Murphy at Notre Dame. And good look at Michael Bradley, who started off very, very well. And he is a guy who's going to score a lot of points. He holds people off here, a little step through. Likes to use his left hand close to the basket. Ambidextrous when he's 5 or 6 feet away. But the big problem for Villanova, the turnovers. The bug is biting them again today.
They've got 11 already. 27 uncooked, as we said, at Providence Wednesday, and they lost by 20.
The problem with their turnovers, they lead to transition baskets for the opposition. It's not like it's a turnover and the other team gets to take it out. It's a turnover and they get a layup.
Good effort from Harley, but Walls has got it. Shot clock down to 7. Here's Harley penetrating. Floater. Rattles out. Rebound still loose. Xavier Singletary had a hand on it. Harley lost it.
Hustle everywhere. Jim Haney is pointing one way, but Gene Manji has it the other way. Steve Lapis in the middle of the discussion. It's got to be frustrating for Steve right now. There's not a lot that he can do right now. I mean, they're attacking the three-quarter court pressure properly. Watch this hustle. Everybody all over the place, and Holly obviously throws it out of bounds off his hand.
Walls, senior from San Francisco. Fall-away left-hander. Right now 18 feet. Matthews pulls down the rebound. Singletary fell down. Got caught up with some legs on the way up court. Bradley down low, double team, and foul on the way up.
That looked like a quadruple team that time. 4 white shirts around them. BC, all mid-sized guys. Harley's 6'5", Wall's 6'6". Of course, the Bell is a little shorter than that. Even Agbai is only about 6'6". So they force you to go down with them. Watch this. 3 or 4 guys around him. Harley Agbai. But he is a weak free throw shooter. You can see there. And it's hard to figure out why, because he's got nice form. Follows through pretty nice. He gets bumped a lot during the course of the game because he's such a important offensive cog for them. You can see his situation tonight. He does not miss many from the field. However, he misses a lot from there, and that's a lucky one.
2 of 4 in this game from the line for Michael Bradley. Just over 57% from the line. Bob, big key number here. Villanova 3-point shooting. Still no threes. No perimeter game to help out Bradley and support and spread out the defense.
Precisely. And I think part of it is because Boston College is playing them so tightly on the perimeter.
Walls had strip.
A little more energy this possession for the Wildcats.
Good hands by Patrick Sullivan in the game for the first time, number 12 in blue.
Patrick, a long, lean kind of player. He's matched up against Harley, which is a tough matchup. You have to match down almost when you play Boston College and play with smaller teams because they're so small.
It's Bell. Shot clock just about to expire. Nice Bradley hand a rebound. Kicks loose to Medley.
See, Medley doesn't push it. He's always catching the ball and making passes about 25 feet. He needs to make them about 15. Push a little harder, make the defense back up.
DC cooling now. They missed 5 in a row. Bradley in the alley-oop from Medley.
He was denied, made the back cut. Great coordination between Jermaine Medley and Michael Bradley on that play. I'll tell you what, they're okay on offense. As long as they don't give the ball back to people, they can be in the top of the league.
16 for Bradley. 16 of his team's 31. Where's the help and support? Steve Lapis told us before the game. His team needs so desperate. Who is going to step up? It was right early. A whistle. And it's Andrew Sullivan. Correct the name, saying it was Patrick. Andrew from London, England, picks up his first.
You know, the thing about stepping up, as you mentioned, stepping up, Dave, you know, I mean, it's more of everybody stepping up at the defensive end. Offensively, they're okay. And different people step up different games. But at the defensive end, it has to be a more mutual thing with all 5 guys at the same time. They get lots of breakdowns in the half court.
Here's Agbai double team. Full contact. He was hit before he went up for the shot. Buchanan and Bradley both there. Looks like Gary picks up the foul.
See, he is way too open right here. Of course, Buchanan calling for a travel, but the foul on him. Interesting. Villanova has 2 players that lead the nation in something. Bradley leads the nation in field goal percentage, and Gary Buchanan leads the nation in free throw percentage. Of course, the Big East leads in 2 other categories. Omar Cook leading the nation in assists, and Eddie Griffin leading the nation in rebounding and block shots. So the Big East well represented in the national stats.
Buchanan, no trips to the free throw line yet to try to stand on that 61 consecutive free throw record he's got going. 3 more to tie the Division I all-time record.
This is an annoying press for Villanova. Boston College really executing the slides of this complicated half-court trap very, very well. Disguising their defense as well causes a lot of confusion.
Just 1 3-pointer from Nova would really change the defensive complexion of the game for Boston College. So contact Bradley in the paint. Ends up on his back. And he was pushed there. Uka Agbai picks it up at halftime. The Big East Wire, news and notes. Records being set, records being broken. Highlights and stats from our exciting first half here at Chestnut Hill as well. 1:05 left on this first half clock.
And a little piece about these Boston College Eagles and the Providence Friars, both of whom have completely turned around their fortunes from a year ago. Providence beating St. John's last night, and this man has done a tremendous job coaching here. Did a great job at Rhode Island as well. A very calm exterior. Bradley makes 2. A lot of iron on that one, though, Dave.
He'll take it. Give him 18 points. With those free throw numbers, anything that goes down through the cylinder is a gift.
I'll tell you what, he can take all the gifts he can from the charity stripe.
If he's a better free throw shooter, he might average about 30 a game. Long shot from Singletary, not there. And quietly, BC really has cooled down here. Agbai free. Little hop and a skip. Did he travel first before the contact? No, he is fouled.
Unfortunate right there for Villanova. They were in a situation where they really had the ball, lost it. Steve unhappy about that kind of a situation right now.
The sophomore from London, England, Andrew Sullivan, picks up his 2nd personal. Just off the injured list, had a sprained left knee, was out 2 games, came back with 10 strong minutes in a win over UConn, 70-59. About a week and a half ago.
And that was the first time they beat UConn in forever.
23 in a row. Sullivan in to add some defense.
Intentional foul right here by Michael Bradley, looks like, Dave.
Oh, boy. On a missed BC free throw. Boy, does that hurt. Harley will go to the free throw line. Intentional foul on Bradley. 2 in the ball.
Well, they've been going at it at both ends of the floor, Dave, and Bradley got the right call at his end last time, but they've been bumping and grinding. And of course, Bradley's going to see a lot of that because of his offensive prowess. People are going to get physical with him, and he's got to keep his head. Not a very smart play right there on a missed free throw.
Senior from the Bronx, New York City. Missed just 1 game at BC. That was in February of '99 against Rutgers since arriving here at Chestnut Hill. He's been a real Iron Man and very effective for him.
Yeah, and you know that it's interesting you mentioned that because he was on some of those teams that weren't very good over the last 3 years, and now here's a guy who stayed. He's gotten better and better and better, and being rewarded. Not one of those guys jumping to the pros. Not that kind of talent. It's nice to see that out of players.
40 seconds and counting first half. 7 straight misses for BC. Still around 60% though for the first half. They've been red hot. Great start. Walls trying to increase the numbers. He went.
Oh, man. That was a tough 3. Wright was in his face.
And how big was that? With about 30 seconds left, a miss there. Nova could score, change the momentum a bit. Heading into the halftime locker room instead. It's 16. 10 seconds to go first half. Balanced team. That has really been Al Skinner's calling card all year. Buchanan penetrates with 2. Knocked away. What a block. At the horn. Kenny Walls on offense. and defense. Halftime report comes your way next. A long time after an 11-19 struggle of a year ago. One reason, sophomore sensation Troy Bell. He's getting some help this year. Aside from him, the freshman from Ann Arbor, Ryan Sidney, getting some considerable minutes as well. Providence Friars also come together recently. Villanova. Welcome back, everyone, to the Connick Forum. Dave Ryan, Bob Wenzel. 8 different Eagles score in the first half, but not just offense for these guys. Such an active defensive team as well.
Fast hands, hands leads to fast breaks, and that's what happened in the first half. The difference in the game are those fast break points, and this is characteristic what we're showing you here. Troy Bell, fast hands, steals the basketball, goes down, gets an easy layup. This next one we show you is not a instant replay. This time a different kind of turnover, and Bell, same result, 2 easy points. Difference in the game so far is 16 points, and the difference in transition baskets is that same amount. So the fast break points, very, very important, keyed in part by all of the turnovers. You look at the field goal percentage, both teams pretty good. There have been only 11 rebounds for each team so far in this game. It's because of all of the made baskets. If you like offense, you're going to like the second half of this game.
Villanova 0 for 6, as we saw, from three-point range. And Jermaine Medley, the first time these teams met, had 5 threes. He's 0 for 3 in the first half from long range. They're going to have some serious contribution from outside the arc to get back in this game. More coming up. Big East Division. And now they're on the verge of their best ever start in league play, 7-1. Since 96-97, if they can hang on, they've got a big lead at the break here.
Well, they do have a big lead. 13 points is hard to overcome for Villanova on the road. But at halftime, I'm sure that Steve whipped them into shape a little bit. They've just got to handle the basketball. The people we talked about at the beginning of the game, Troy Bell, 11 points on 5 for 7. Bradley misses only 1 shot in the first half, so he continues his stellar play. The 2 Bs, Bradley and Bell, doing extremely well. But Bell's team way ahead by the virtue of balance on his team. Lots of guys involved. For Michael Bradley, Jermaine Medley absent, Buchanan absent. Those 2 guys have to step up offensively, and they've got to handle the basketball better, or it's going to be curtains.
Last time they met, Bob, close game of the break, 40-39. BC had the lead. They ran away with it, though, in the second half, won by 10. Now they got to hang on.
Well, we talked to Steve Lapis before the game. You asked him who he was going to start. He says, I'm throwing these names into the hat and picking them out, other than Bradley. And I'm sure he was trying to be a little funny in that excess, but they are struggling a little bit at this point in the season.
He's not laughing now. Ollie starts the second half. Along with Medley, Buchanan, Matthews, and of course, Michael Bradley. Same starting 5. Shot clock never started above the basket here at the Connick Forum. And Tim Higgins will probably go over and make sure it's operating correctly so we can proceed.
Well, that was a good defensive stance by Villanova. They came out of the halftime with very strong energy defensively. You know, one of the things is if you can't fix a turnover problem, and that's going to happen to you in games, then you've got to create more of those turnovers yourself by being more aggressive defensively. And that's what they did on that possession.
Now Nova. Talked about it at halftime. Now they come out in half number 2. Spread the ball very well in the opening moments of the first half and got it inside of Bradley for great looks. Medley, it's short. He's 0 for 4 in this game so far. Fires a high pass that Bradley needed all 6'10" to go up and try to get. However, he
needed to be 7-2 right there.
At least.
Well, Medley not having one of his better games today. Not scoring, not handling the basketball very well. But he's got 20 more minutes to prove something.
Another turnover for Villanova. On the other end, Carly hits. The largest lead for BC.
Confidence from three-point range. Harley shoots 45% on the year. That's like shooting 80% of two-point shots. Very effective from the line.
2 triples for him, 1 in each half. BC 6 of 10 from long range. Matthews kept it alive momentarily. Harley's running the other way. Lead balloons to 19. Agbaya's had a good game today. That time he was stopped by Bradley, and Michael tangled a bit on the way up the court. Aaron Matthews, a pull-up. Misses the easy one. Wanted some contact. He won't get it. And Walls lost on the way up.
A little uncharacteristic turnover by Boston College on that play.
This game being produced by ESPN Regional Television. Jermaine Medley a three. He's finally on the board.
Had his feet underneath him that time. Nice pass by Bradley. When he's open, he ought to be able to make those shots. He's got nice rotation. Traditionally a good three-point shooter. When he's rushed, though, he has a little more trouble.
First triple of the game, Bob. For Villanova. 1 out of 9. We talked about that alarming stat for Steve Lapis at the half. Bell, spectacular looking drive, but he can't finish. Medley, some numbers for Nova. With Matthews, however, he steps to the baseline and he'll go right back. 13 turnovers now for Villanova. They average 18.4 game.
2 consecutive plays where they should have had layups. Matthews not coming up strong in either case.
Villanova 13th in turnover margin, minus 3.63. Anytime you're in the red in that stat, it's a bad number. Well, BC's number 1.
That's the story of their season so far.
Kick out from Singletary to Harley. And the senior veteran, a lot of contact in the lane, ran over Harley, commits the offensive foul.
Well, Wall's brother is a football player. He's a cornerback on Boston College's team.
Right, twin brother Lenny.
And Harley trying to take a page out of his book. Looked like a little bit of a running back on the XFL on that one.
Catching those games yesterday pretty wild, huh? You were doing a game with Don Quincy down in Washington, I know.
Well, Georgetown looked good in that one. But, you know, we talk about how teams are right now and NCAA time and everything. You know, there's still about half of a season to go in terms of bids, and lots of time left for everyone. Lots of challenges left for a team like Boston College. Very hard foul right there by Walls. Right here, Buchanan takes it in a nice dish, and he grabs the arm of Wright, sends him to the floor. Wright was the only player, as you mentioned, who helped offensively in the first half.
Lucky 3 out of 4 first half on the free throw line. Big game against BC last week. That Reynolds and had 12 points, 3 rebounds in just 14 minutes.
Well, we should mention they are missing Brooks Sales, who broke his right wrist and falling on the ice last week. Missed the Providence game. He is here in emotional support, but he is a guy who gives them a lot. He's not with them. Also, Reggie Bryant, a 2-guard, who's been out for a long time.
Brooks Sales, a co-captain on this team, averaging more than 10 a game, slipped on a patch of ice on the Nova campus. As you said, Bob, last week, Wednesday, while his team was in Providence, losing to Tim Welsh's Friars, he was getting surgery on that arm. Could be out for 5 weeks.
And those are big numbers, 10.6 rebounds. That adds a lot. Now, he doesn't help their ball handling that much, but as far as giving them another scorer and every guy around the basket, his absence hurts.
We had hoped to have Reggie Bryant dressed for this game, the freshman, out with an abdominal strain. Last game he played against St. Francis of Pennsylvania, December 30th. He tried to play the first couple games of the new year as well, but really shut down after being totally ineffective.
Well, he has a muscle pull and having real trouble. And he was a guy I saw at Villanova practice earlier in the year, electrifying guard, big-time scorer. So both of those guys out, lend to the woes of the Wildcats.
Walls, couple free throws. He's in a double figures with 10. Joining Bell there. Team's last game here at Connie Forum. Big win over Virginia Tech. 3 players led the way with 16 each as Medley starts to heat up.
Well, they need that. You mentioned the three-point shooting. He's made 2 in the second half now, so good determination by Jermaine. They got to get some stops. When you're this far behind, you cannot just trade baskets. Some determination required at the defensive end.
Kenny Walls, baseline move.
And that ain't going to do it.
Very balanced attack for BC. Blocking foul. Xavier Singletary try to get his feet in position. Little shuffle, says Tim Higgins.
You know, you haven't mentioned Xavier Singletary very much today, and really, you know, he's a guy who scores a lot of points, averages 14 a game, but that is the strength of their team. He's only got 2 today, and yet they're ahead by so many points. Other people step up and score. Very well balanced team.
Medley another three. Trying to warm up and get Nova right back in the game. Holly some contact on the way down with Agbai. Bradley there as well.
There's some of the depth. Brian Ross, who had a very good first half, knocking in threes from the perimeter, making nice passes. So the depth of the bench for Boston College has been very, very effective.
Andrew Sullivan comes back in for Nova.
He and Holly are more defensive players.
They need some defense. Need a lot of offense right now. 2 down, 16. It's not over yet. Medley can heat up. Bell on the other end. BC not finding the range after a great start from three-point land. And a foul on the rebound against the Eagles.
Well, Agbai going strong. He's explaining to Al that he didn't really foul him, coach.
Lead is 16. Agbai picks up his second foul. More on the way from BC. Be your game summary.
Well, both teams shooting very well from the field, 52 and 58, but obviously Boston College getting a lot more shots and a lot more easy points. 21 fast break points. Michael Bradley doing his normal thing, 18 points and 6 boards so far. And that man, Troy Bell, doing his thing as well, which is winning.
He's got 11, none here in the second half so far.
Change of defense. The trap comes in a different place.
Here comes the energy. Here comes Kenny Walls.
Anytime there's a timeout, you change defense. Troy Bell face guarding Medley, so other people must handle the ball, and then they go ahead and trap that person.
Just thinking heading into the break, Bob, how Villanova really had avoided the turnover bug a lot here in the second half. Didn't see the fast, active hands we talked about. We saw so much from BC in the first half. Now they turn it up a bit with a pressure defense.
Well, they changed it. You know, it was three-quarter court and then trying to get a trap at half court. Then they moved it all the way full court. 3 fouls on Agbai. And the result of that kind of a situation is easy baskets. So the change of defense during the timeout effective for Al Skinner.
He's at 9 points, 5 of 6 from the line for Yuka Agbai. Ryan Ross, not mentioned, effective first half. First appearance of the second for him. Wright found all alone. Good pass from Bradley.
Bradley showing his ability as a passer. Stepped away from the double team and his partner down the middle. Very smooth offensive player.
Singletary thought about a three. Ross has been very effective offensively. He's got 14. And a hold there from Andrew Sullivan. It's his third.
Right here we get double team action right here, and Wright cuts to the basket. Easy play off a nice play by Michael Bradley. Wright and Bradley coordinating their efforts.
Harley, trouble with the handle. Buchanan all over him, and Tim Higgins says too much contact. The sophomore. That's his second.
Al Skinner yelling instructions to his group. 15 and 2. I can't tell you how impressive that is.
Contact on the way up. Wright got a big piece of his first shot. Bradley ahead of the rebound. Here's Buchanan. Sprung out the other way. Harley trying to strip it from behind. Bradley's running and lays it home.
Maybe a little foul too, uncalled. You know, it's a funny thing with Villanova struggling so mightily lately, but yet Bradley getting big numbers. Talks to the idea that basketball is the ultimate team game.
Bradley's got 20. Singletary looking for just 3. He'll take Bradley's strong rebound. 6 straight games now, Bob. Michael Bradley, 20 or more points, but the Cats are just not winning without a lot of help.
Well, that's right. And it's a team game, and you've got to coordinate your efforts. You've got to play offense well, defense well, handle the ball well. Each team has its own formula.
Buchanan pull up, 10-footer short. Right, nice follow. Instead of coming down with it, they'll look to jam it. And he was short. Bradley, lot of contact. He is just mugged down there by Xavier Singleton.
And keeps his head. Lots of guys would be mad. A terrific pass by Medley in that situation. And you're right, he got mugged. And when you score a lot of points, you're going to get a lot of attention. And right here, he gets hit in the face and goes down with an elbow. And I would have come up swinging maybe on that one. But Bradley keeps his poise.
I do a lot of hockey. That's 2 minutes for elbow in there. There's no question. If he has a stick, it's a high stick call.
Big upset there. Rutgers winning.
That's right. With a big rally. Tommy Amaker's team continuing to struggle. There's Maryland over Clemson. 5:50 in the ACC, and Michigan State continues to roll. Contact to the free throw line involving Bradley again. Not sure how good that is, though, because we got some free throws now to the 1-and-1. His free throw numbers being a big struggle. Lost the foul.
He is the focus of their offense. There's no question about that. And his teammates look for him and find him.
Yikes. That was off the backboard first.
That was
not
a
close.
Shaq-ish kind of free throw.
Unfortunately.
I'm sure he's not trying to emulate the great Lakers center.
4 out of 7.
Regard anyway.
Exactly. 4 out of 7 from the free throw line for him in this game so far. Lead 14. Plenty of time. Nobody hanging around. Walls trying to bury him here. That's long. Ross. Big offensive rebound. Knocked away, though.
Andy strong hands.
My goodness, what a block that was. Singletary, skip past Wall's baseline. Little fadeaway. Kenny Walls another one.
This might be his best game of the year so far. Only averages 7. And he's doing a great job tonight, but very experienced. He and Harley played on those games, those teams from BC that weren't very good. But they gained valuable experience because they played lots and lots of minutes.
Sullivan penetrates and scores off the bench. That's his first 2. Talked about Wall's numbers. He's got 16. 6 of 9 shooting for Kenny Walls. He's been an offensive shot in the arm, no question, for Al Skinner's team. Contact, Bell on the way through.
Well, so far in the second half, Villanova and BC have played evenly in terms of the score. But because Villanova is in the hole, that doesn't do them much good. Snowden injected for his defensive prowess. Number 3 for the Wildcats. And Medley with 3 fouls.
You've got to have him out there and got to have him pumping up the threes to get back in this game. Contact with Matthews on Singletary.
Well, Singletary trying to get it close to the basket. As we mentioned, not involved much offensively tonight. Normally a 14-point-a-game type player.
There Matthews third, 16. Next time they're in the bonus. Spin move. Bell got 3 in the baseline short. Ross, another nice offensive rebound, sticks it back in.
There are not many possessions where BC is not scoring. Highly efficient offense.
Crashing the offensive glass. Villanova's just had 1 and done on their possessions most of the time in the second half. Foul against BC off the ball. There are the numbers in the second half.
Boston College, Villanova very hot in the first half, reasonably so in the second half. Ross picks up his 3rd personal foul on a little touch foul before the play began on Bradley. Sometimes fouling is a strategy. If you can get a good offensive player riled and out of his game, using different players to foul him, that can be very effective.
4 out of 7 so far from the line. You saw the horrid numbers. Season stats. Ross a fight with Snowden. Tied up. Possession arrow stays with Nova.
Well, what happens on a play like that, you know, Villanova's going to get it back because of Snowden's hustle, but, you know, you come down, foul Bradley, he goes to the line and misses. It's like a turnover. So poor free throw shooting and turnovers can really hurt you.
Wright just back in the lineup, hits. And 1, Ricky Wright. Off the bench. He started for the first time all year because Sales has been hurt. Wednesday and Providence played pretty well. They lost by 20. Back in the lineup off the bench in this game today, very effective.
Well, he's a physical kind of player and has a good mid-range game, uses his body well, and you can see him shield the defense and keep the ball away from the defense here. Cute little out-of-bounds play. Snowden made a good pass, but they need to bring something defensively, and whether they can pressure BC in the backcourt to create some action remains to be seen. But they're going to give it a shot right here. 1-2-2, 3/4 court trap. With Sullivan on the front, he has long arms. It'll make it difficult to pass over him.
Beerbaum back in the lineup. They'll spread to press Sidney as well. Blocked away by Bradley. Fans, of course, want the goaltend here. That may have been on the way down. Debatable. Stolen back by Bell from Sullivan. Troy Bell stops. Contact. contact, no call. Gets it back and lays it in.
Sullivan caught in no man's land for a guy of his lack of ball handling ability. They had a possibility going, and then BC responds.
Again, the pressure. Bradley up high to help break it. Here's Derek Snowden, freshman from Baltimore. Move on Bell. Kick out. Sullivan tries a three-ball short. Snowden, weak side rebound contact, but he lost it, says Tim Higgins. Villanova bench and Steve Lapis displeased, to say the least. Now the officials change their call. You're watching Big East basketball.
Newport Grand.
He said before the game he was going to sit next to the BC faithful there on that great-looking couch and relax. But he needs a wig.
I think, yeah, he's looking better with that yellow hair, I think.
I want to see him wear leather pants. To get information on your favorite Big East team, go online at www.bigeast.org for all the basketball and conference news from around the Big East. I was on that website last night looking at the recaps of all the games. You did one of those at Georgetown and West Virginia.
It's a great site. Take a look at the turnover story right here. Villanova forced 10, 15 points. Boston College, 18. Gary Buchanan has been absent. Gary Buchanan, the two guard, normally a 14, 18-point of game type guy. He is 1 for 4 and only 2 points for Steve Lapis in this game so far. Appealing to Tim Higgins.
Buchanan had 18 points, 6 assists, 6 of 6 from the line the last time these teams played last weekend. He averages almost 14 a game.
That's right. He's a good part of their offense, and he's not available and not playing well tonight. Snowden is trying hard. He gets hits in the stomach right here. A little elbow by Bell. Not illegally, however, but trying to get up on people. Sometimes you run into various parts of their anatomy when you get that close. But Snowden, you have to admire his aggressiveness, trying to do something to create action, but putting Bell at the free throw line. There is Mr. Buchanan. And it's tough for Steve, you know, when a guy's not having a good game, he's one of your main people. You rest him a little bit, then you put him back in, see if his confidence can't get going. Right here, tight defense and a little shoulder to the chest. And a little bump. That hurts.
Team high 16 against the Hokies of Virginia Tech. Last time BC on the floor here Wednesday night. 22-point win at the Connick Forum. The free throw numbers for Bell, outstanding. Last year, a BC single season record, 89.2. Wow. Big East basketball from the Connick Forum, Chestnut Hill, Mass. Hey, Brian, Bob Wenzel, the entire Big East crew. Glad to get joined us today. 2 more for Bell, continuing the great free throw numbers, almost 85% coming in. Give him 15. He had 11 in the first half.
BC continues to play the same kind of defense, and there is Buchanan taking the ball in. Maybe after a little rest, he'll get energized. Lots of bodies on the floor,
including Kenny Hartley, and he's a little slow to get up.
He was slow to get up, and Bradley went down in the heap as well. Both seem to be okay. Tough guys.
So here comes Mr. Free Throw. 61 in a row. He is just 3 shy of the all-time NCAA Division I record. It's 64. Joe Dykstra, Western Illinois, back in 1982. Make it 62 in a row.
Be careful now, Dave.
I know, but you got to lead up to this, Bob. Concentration. Incredible for a free throw shooter like that. Normally it's a swish. He actually drew some iron there. He's 1 shy of the record.
Villanova trying to get back in the game with some three-quarter court pressure, giving to Boston College what they've been receiving the entire night, and then back to man-to-man. BC with their stellar ball handling, able to handle it. Double screen at the top. Lob play. Not available.
Kenny Hartley with Holly on him. Shot clock dwindles down. Hartley a pull-up. It's a 3. He's got it.
That hurts. Ouch. With 6 to go on the shot clock, he drains one with a Villanova player in his face. Great play by Hartley.
3 triples for Kenny Hartley in this game. 3 out of 4 from long range. And now the defense will extend. Out on the wings to try to eliminate three-point tries from Nova down by a lot. Holly, good touch pass right.
Nice execution by Villanova right there against the trapping situation. Hit the high post and look to the weak side. One of the basic elements of attacking zone pressure.
Reggie Bryant and Bradley, the only two offensive bright spots in this game for Villanova. He's got 17, career high 21. Came earlier this year against Virginia Tech on January 6th. Harley another three, way off. Here's Buchanan looking to draw little contacts. Looking for a record. Instead, Harley lets him go by, and Gary lays it in.
Villanova hanging around and hanging around. You can see Medley trying to get his guys, get his troops up a little bit. Being deep in the hole against an excellent ball handling team is a very tough assignment. But we talked about Buchanan being absent since that time. He's very much involved. 3 points in the last 2 possessions. Shot clock again.
That's an issue again for BC. Bell dishing, Beerbomb shooting, blocked from behind by Wright. Ricky got a piece of it. Fans wanted some contact.
It is the Big East, 5-on-4. They should take advantage.
Here's Buchanan. Beerbomb a piece of it. Right, a loose ball. Stripped free by Harley. Missed an easy layup, and Ross rips down the rebound. Bell for Beerbomb, who was open. Try to penetrate, dribble it off his leg. Partially stripped. Play getting a little scattered.
Fatigue sets in at this part of the game. 8 minutes to go. Most of these players have gone a lot of the game. Medley especially running around chasing Bell. It's not an easy assignment.
Medley tried to overplay the passing lane, and Bell makes it pay. Jermaine almost made the steal, but almost doesn't count.
That's right. And he tried to jump in the passing lane, but he's a little tired right now.
More balance for BC. It's been the story all year. Bell's got 17 to lead the way. Bradley, a lot of contact. Count it.
Oh, my. Russ thinks he got the charge. But Bradley, maybe the reputation helping him out. 4 fouls for Ross. Ross trying to be physical. And that's the best way for him to play Bradley. And the fans appreciative of his efforts.
And Brian Ross knows he's not the most athletic guy out there. Loves, as we said, take the charge, be a hacker if he's got to. Cut 3 points off the lead. It was 49-33 at the break. Still 13-point game.
Well, that is common for them. I mean, they're really a good offensive team. They shoot very, very well. And you can see Gary Buchanan's situation.
Just one shy of the all-time record. Joe Dykstra, 81-82. All-time record, however. Division II, Paul Cluxton from Northern Kentucky made 94 in a row. He went the whole year in 96-97 without missing one. How about that?
That is awesome. And there's Buchanan, who would rather get some wins, I think.
Exactly. Chance here for a last catch for Nova, though. Not over yet. Bradley, piece of the shot from Agby on the way up. Block shot from Michael Bradley. Ball loose. Sidney hustles for it. The freshman penetrates. Count it. Chance for a three-point play. Ryan Sidney.
He is strong. Seems like he always comes up with the loose ball. Lots of guys hustled on that play, but he comes up with it, and then once he gets it, he knows what to do with it. Buchanan hustling also gets his 3rd personal foul on the situation. But, you know, in a way, it's a bad foul because you let him score, and watch this hustle. Welcome to Big East, guys. Everybody hustling, and then 2 dribbles and at the hole. Uses the left very well.
Sidney missed the free throw, trying to complete the three-point play, so the lead at 15.
He's open.
Medley, triple. Missed the mark, Matthews. He'll go to the free throw line to shoot a couple.
Despite Matthews' size, has not done a great job on the offensive boards. Jonathan Beerbarm, a senior from Fairbury, Nebraska. BC has guys from all over the place on their team. You mentioned Bell and Sidney from the Midwest. Nebraska's in the Midwest, isn't it?
It sure is. College football territory there.
Harley from New York. Not many Massachusetts guys on the team. Kenny Walls from San Francisco.
By way of Rice in Arkansas. He spent several years of his childhood there. Interesting story with Walls. He's had a big game today in this one, too.
He really has played very, very well. Matthews, you can see his physical prowess.
Canada handled the rebound. Another miss from Matthews, but they've got a fresh possession.
Matthews didn't see Sullivan open in the post.
Agbai overplays Bradley.
Bradley hasn't touched it in a while.
Seattle City tries to collapse back with a double team and some contact. That's all right. The way Bradley shoots free throws, not a bad foul.
But when Sidney comes to double, he doesn't let you put the ball on the floor. He comes right up and physical, gets bodies on bodies. Steve calling blue defense. Many coaches put colors to their defense to signify and also give some visual signals as to what the defenses are. Sometimes the players can't hear you, so you need a visual signal.
Third foul against Sidney. Another miss for Bradley. 5 out of 10 from the line. 5 more points is a different game, right?
Sure is. Sure is. About what he normally does. If he makes this one, and he does. This is the end where Villanova has not been able to make any compensating factors right here. Seems like they play defense for about 25 seconds. Somebody goes one-on-one, and they give it up.
Late breakdown. It's happened all uniform. Here's Harley, another 3-ball short. But Agbai hustles for the offensive glass.
Very good hustle. You notice when he shoots a three, everybody's spread all around, so guys aren't clogged in the middle, so little guys can get rebounds that way.
A devastating offensive rebound. Bell trying to make him pay, but guess what? He's fouled behind the arc. That's 3 free throws for Troy Bell.
Well, Matthews on the switch. His man was setting the screen, so he came out. But Bell very, very accurate from deep. 4 fouls, as you can see on Aaron.
8th time this year, Bob, that Troy Bell has been fouled shooting a 3. 26 times in his career. You'd think teams would adjust a little bit.
Well, last year, you know, when he was a freshman, it was really confusing. That's when it only 8 times this year. Last year it was lots and lots of times. So people know who he is now. He was the Big East Rookie of the Year and first team All Big East Conference preseason this year. You can look at his stats right there through 17 games. How many times has he led the team in those categories? Almost always. Scoring 13 times, assists 15 times, and steals double-digit points every night. What a player.
Looks like he will once again lead this team in scoring. He's got 19.
Is he for whom the bell tolls?
No doubt about it.
Ernest Hemingway would like this.
This is about to be 6 for 6. And there he misses, of course, right? Good hustle, Sidney on the baseline. Who's got it? From conference, Ryan Sidney, another little battle he wins. The ultimate war looks like it's going to go to BC at this rate. The lead 15.
He is a tough, tough kid, boy, and you can see how much he loves playing.
Just the emotion alone, even if he doesn't contribute, there's a lot to help a team, but he does plenty.
A defensive weapon, also not a highly recruited player. Plays like a power forward and a small forward all rolled into one. Unusual style of play, and sometimes when you have an unusual style of play, it can be very effective.
He told me he grew up a huge Michigan fan, watching the Fab Five and Steve Fisher in the national championship in 1989. But in the last couple of years, the Wolverines have struggled, and he did not want to play that style. Didn't want to sit on Tom Izzo's bench in East Lansing either.
Well, he's found a good home for himself right here in Boston College.
Xavier Singletary, 1 out of 2, lead 16. Bradley and Buchanan a cut. Athletic play to get it up in one motion, but he missed it. Harley goes by Sullivan, pulls up from 10, it's short. A battle on the baseline, and Nova gets it back.
You know, the fast hands of Boston College has really been a factor in their 15-2 record. I mean, they are all over the place. You know, it almost seems like there's 6 guys out there if you're on the offensive side of things.
10 steals in this game. They average almost 10 a game. And they're right there, 9.8 per heading in.
And they really are a small team.
We were talking with some of their coaching staff today about that. How do you win without a big guy? Players like this, Ryan Sidney. And Bell lost the handle in the corner, saved it, however, stepped the line as he tried to jump and get it back into Ryan Sidney.
Well, their formula for success is different from other people's formula for success. As an example, Georgetown in this league going big successfully. You can see Big East on the tube this week, Dave.
Villanova. A little Big 5 game going on in Philadelphia. That should be interesting. Syracuse, BC right here. Some of the folks are already talking about that as Medley hits along.
They're hanging in and hanging in and hanging in, but Medley looks tired to me. He's played practically the whole game. Chasing Troy Bell around will make you tired, I guarantee you that.
His third 3-ball. The lead is 13. Not over yet, but it's just about there. BC can continue. Shots like that. How about Agbai? Long range.
He's another guy who was not highly recruited. An Ivy League student from Malloy High School in New York. Was going to go to Columbia before BC got involved.
Yuka Agbai's got 11 after that triple. How about his game today? Bradley, little spin on the baseline for Holly, lays it home.
Oh, that was a sweet, sweet pass. Reminiscent of the high post play of Bill Walton in his heyday at UCLA, and of course with the Portland Trail Blazers, and here with the Celtics as well. A big man who can pass and see.
Nova sticks with a man-to-man. Bell on the baseline. A lot of contact with Holly on the way up.
Well, he just blew by Medley right there. The fatigue in Medley's legs not allowing him to stay with Troy Bell, and Holly stepping in and trying to do something to stop this man from taking it at the hole. But as you mentioned before, almost automatic from here.
He had an amazing game from the free throw line against Miami earlier this season. 17 of 17.
And they needed every bit of it when they went down there. It was an extremely close game. And Jonathan Bierbaum tapped one in with about 4 seconds to go off a miss that preserved the victory. He did a great job right there, Jonathan.
Highlight of his life had to be when Coach Mike Krzyzewski said after the game down there, dude, I would love to have Bierbaum on my team. Had a career high 12 rebounds down at Cameron Indoor. But Bierbaum has been glowing ever since.
How about that game the other night when Carolina won at Cameron Indoor Stadium? What a game.
Not done often. Bradley, 3 is a little bit too strong. And Bell's got the rebound. Sidney's running. A lot of contact on the way up. And Michael Bradley goes over immediately to the freshman to tell him no real harm intended, just a hard physical foul. Third on him.
Well, that's the kind of foul that you want to do. It's only his third. Not much time left in the game. He can afford to do that. If he had 4 fouls in a tight game, might not have made that play. But right here, an aggressive play, and this is good sportsmanship by both guys. No point in getting out of sorts on a play like that.
Sidney up to 11. And Bobby talked about the balance. 5 of 6 from the floor.
Better than his normal output of 50%.
That's right. And the rebound. This fires on that stick back try. If Harley gets one more point, Bob, they'll have 5 players in double figures.
That is characteristic of their play. Very team-oriented, very aggressive defense on the perimeter.
Medley, down low for Bradley, but it's stripped first. Lapsing defense all over Michael. By Cooper Tires, a lot of mileage for the money. Cooper Tires, drive on. And by Beck's, a beer, a punt. Talk about the great numbers on the way to that commercial, Bob, from Michael Bradley. However, it's the same old Nova story. Without the big support, they can't win.
Well, that's exactly what's happened today. Big numbers by Michael Bradley. Lots of turnovers by Villanova, leading to a lot of easy baskets by Boston College.
9th double-double of the year for Bradley. 5th in a row, but This team down by a bunch.
Triple teamed.
Nowhere to go. Fires a pass off the side of the backboard. Ouch.
Solid defense right there. End game situation. Bradley stepping away from the basket. Walls adding his encouragement from the sideline.
There are the numbers.
17 turnovers for Villanova. Not what you want. Only 11 for BC.
Singletary will have some free throws. Bradley hits him hard on the way up. 2:44 to go. All right, Bob, let's look ahead a little bit. Syracuse comes in Wednesday. We know Jim Boeheim's team loves to play that 2-3 aggressive zone defense against Al Skinner's bunch. That zone for Syracuse extends to the wings, steps in passing lanes, makes a lot of plays. So does Al Skinner's team. What do you think?
Well, it's going to be a great game. I'll tell you, BC has the advantage because they are at home. BC and Syracuse, both smallish kind of teams. So it's going to be a great game. Al Skinner and Jim Boeheim. Jim Boeheim hooking up. Your alma mater, Syracuse.
That's right.
Squeaked one out last night. Only 54-53 over the slowdown tactics of NC State. But Al Skinner, Coach of the Year candidate both in this league and nationally, I would say.
No question. 16-2 they're about to be. 7-1 in conference play. They won 6 and 11 games in the 2 years prior to this explosion. At the Heights here in Boston. Bradley. Jermaine Medley will penetrate. Tipped away. Talked about the quick hands. There they are again.
You're right. Absolutely. That should have been a layup, and it comes up as a 3 near the end of the shot clock instead. Fast hands by the BC Eagles are their trademark. And that guy's got some of the fastest hands I've seen in a long time, Ryan Sidney.
Try to catch BC napping on the inbounds play, but again, quick hands recovered. Fast enough to knock it away from Bradley.
And it's not only fast hands, too. You know, it's focus. I mean, they really pay attention to detail. They're really focused on what they're trying to do out there. No mental breakdowns.
That might have gone in had Wright not touched it and interfered. It was hanging. You never know. We'll never find out. It'll be 2 free throws instead.
Should have left it go. Agbai talking to Kenny Harley about how we want to double team. 4 fouls on Yuka. He's really done a terrific job. Every night he is outmanned in terms of size. He's their center on defense, and he's got a lot of work to do when they play Providence, and Shabazz comes in here. Those kind of teams can make it difficult for a small center. Fortunately, they do not play Georgetown, who has the biggest people.
Pretty quick defenders on that Hoya squad as well for Craig Asherick, right?
They are quick and they are big.
Medley a steal against Harley. Here's Buchanan out of the pack. He'll lay it in.
Now, be honest, were you hoping you'd get fouled on that one?
Wanted to be a part of history. 3rd time in his career he's over 20 points. He's exactly at that mark now. Soft-spoken leader that Al Skinner told us a lot about before the game today. Maybe wants him to be a little bit more vocal on and off the court.
I'll tell you what, though, his quiet demeanor, he doesn't get rattled.
Harley is free. Press break to perfection for BC.
Not a lot of fast break points in the second half. That was only their 6th point on the break, but 21 in the first half. They didn't need them.
Medley hits late. Nova takes a timeout. Still down 13. So Bob with Harley's hoop. 5 players now in double figures. Walls, Agbai, Harley, Bell, Sidney off the bench. Again, the scores, top 25 at Seton Hall, reeling now.
Well, they are reeling, and Duke is doing very well. Florida State struggling. Maryland on an uptick right now, playing well in the league. And, of course, Michigan State, Purdue. Michigan State, one of the best teams in the country. They are ranked 5th, but they could be a little bit better than that. You know, you think about the 4 teams will be the top seeds in the NCAA, Carolina and Stanford, Duke maybe. As you look at BC's schedule, the game you mentioned against your alma mater here on the 7th, that's going to be a big one. And then they've got some ats. And the ats away from home always are a little tougher. Connecticut getting their win last night against Virginia Tech. And, of course, Villanova back in the Big 5 to play Pennsylvania. And then against Connecticut, whom they beat already, Georgetown, Miami, and then at West Virginia with Calvin Bowman and Gail Catlett's crew.
10th time this year BC has gone over 80 points. And I asked Al Skinner before the game, does your team need to have a 90 to 80 type run and gun game? He said the points aren't necessarily what makes us tick. It's defensive effort, steals, and transition. We don't have to a lot of points. It's how we defend in our end, and they've done a great job tonight with it. I
think because of their ball handling, too. You know, he's a little bit more animated at the end of the game, probably trying to teach some lessons here. But they can play at a slow pace or a fast pace. I mean, they have great ball handlers and great shooting. And I'll talk to you about the defense being very, very important. But they have great elements. I mean, they've got lots of room for error within their team. A guy like Singletary doesn't score much. They still win big. Troy Bell, obviously, is the key player.
Cannon almost left his feet for a travel. Instead penetrates left-handed floater. Beautiful looking shot from Gary Buchanan.
He did not have a lot of that tonight, and they need that kind of play from him. He can't just be an away from the ball player and a three-point shooter. Four corners action right here to work the clock.
It'll be a lucky 13 for BC. 13-0 here at the Connie Forum this year. With Syracuse coming up next. Shot clock dwindling. Harley tries a triple. It's short. Singletary handled the rebound briefly. Knocked out of bounds. Nova gets it back. 38 ticks to go.
Well, it was a very, very well played game by Boston College. They took it to Villanova in the middle part of the first half, and Villanova has not been able to recover since then. Gave it their best, but not able to dig out of the hole that Boston College put them in the first half.
This victory for BC will tie the second best ever start in school history. 57-58, the team started also 16-2, and that's where BC is going. 66-67 under the legend player Bob Cousy, who coached here for a while. The team was 23-2. History being rewritten this year. Not bad at all. Bradley with a big rooting section takes a seat. Had a great game. Only 6 points, 11 boards. And his team will lose again. Sixth time in the last 8 games, Nova's going to go down.
Well, guys not happy on the sidelines right here. They hung tough. Brooks Sales, when they get him back, it'll be a little better.
Easy one for Harley. He's got 13. And these BC fans have got another win. Late game fireworks. Sydney fouled home. Spectacular stuff by Bell, but after the foul, Sydney will get some free throws. Does Kenny Walls love that? You bet.
Lots of smiles on the faithful in Boston. This Boston College team is really the story of the year in college basketball in terms of Cinderellas. Teams that were not supposed to be top quality and obviously have proven they are.
One more for the freshman. Looking back, this game tied 11-11 early. Nova endured a stretch of 7 turnovers and 8 possessions. That's when the game changed dramatically. Pressure defense was the key.
Absolutely. And the cushion remained the entire game. Great game by Boston College. They deserve it. Terrific play.
This cushion finishes out at 15. 89-74. Final thoughts.
Well, Steve Lapis has to go back to the drawing board and find ways to not turn the ball over like this. And the BC Eagles have to keep on keeping on with their mid-sized players doing great, great work.
For Bob Wenzel, it's Dave Ryan saying so long from Boston.
Hello, welcome to Nesson Outdoors. I'm your host, Charlie Moore, the Mad Fisherman. Tonight we're joined by Craig